You're listening to Brainwork Framework, a business and marketing podcast, brought to you by focus-biz.com.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode. With me today is a very special guest, Jessica Dragan. Jessica is the founder and owner of Corporate Wellness and Retention.com. The mobile chair massage company based out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, helps reduce employee injuries and downtime and can help keep your top employees on the job for more years than expected. Jessica's 18 years of experience ensures that the therapists that treat you and your employees are vetted, licensed, and experienced. Jessica is a seasoned business owner, Army veteran, business investor, and mentor to other business owners. Jessica, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So tell me more about your entrepreneurial journey. You started in California, you were in the Army. How did that set the stage and where did that take you to where you are today?
You know, that's a crazy story that I think about often, actually. Like, how did I get here? So I joined the Army to get the hell out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Can't blame you there.
Yeah, thanks. Ultimately, it was a decision because I knew that if I changed my mind, even though I signed on the dotted line, they were going to make me go. So I couldn't chicken out on this one. But when I was in the military, although it was a fantastic experience and I'm forever grateful for it, I knew that once I went to the war, that I had given up way too much of my power, and being a lifer, as they call it, was not an option for me. And when I was in Kuwait in the wintertime, I saw a map of the United States in the wintertime, and everything to the right of the mountains was blue and purple because it was cold. And then California was a nice bright yellow and orange. And I said, I'm going to move there.
That's where I want to go.
And I actually got out sooner than I thought, and honorably, of course. And so I had to make some very fast decisions. I was actually done with my commitment 3 weeks after I came back from Kuwait. And so I was like, LA it is, or no, I'm sorry, California it is. And I signed up for the Air Force Reserves so that if I had to go back to the war, which was inevitable, I wouldn't be there as long as the Army would be. And
Great reasoning process.
Yeah. It took me a good year to find a recruiter that would actually work with me. I don't know if he didn't believe my last name or what the deal was, but finally I got a recruiter to work with me, and I was set up for the California base. And now I'm spacing out on the name of the base.
I only know the Marine bases, or at least one of them. So
Riverside.
Riverside.
Yeah, it was in Riverside. So I packed up my car and I started driving from Fort Hood, Texas. It was so neat. Just a free experience. And I got to Riverside and I was like, what is this shithole? I was like, I can't live here. The biggest problem for me with Riverside was the freeways had fences up. You know what I'm talking about, the I don't know if you call it a fence, but the walls up to stop the noise from the traffic. And I was like, oh. So I just kept driving.
You're like, I don't like this place. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I only had to be there 1 week in a month. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just gonna keep driving. I ended up in Long Beach, and I remembered a friend that I had met in the military who I thought was one of the coolest people ever was from there. And also Snoop Dogg was from there. So how bad could it be?
Right.
I was 24 at the time. Okay. So it was very young brain. There was like
a lot of optimism, just figure it out when you get there.
Really, so like I get myself a hotel room and I start looking at places, and I found a beautiful apartment along the freeway where those channels are. Where you see those on like Terminator when they're chasing cars. But like when I looked out on the balcony, there was people walking their horses, and I was like, okay, I'll do this, right?
Yeah, that sounds cool.
It was really neat. Something that I'll always treasure. I won't do that again by myself, but like
you're not just gonna pack your stuff up and just hit the road and figure it out when you get there.
Yeah, it was super neat. So yeah, like I set it all up there. I came back home to Milwaukee to get all my stuff, furniture, whatever, and got in a U-Haul, and off I went. And I set up my apartment. I think they said on the news at the time that June, we were going to get like the biggest earthquake ever. So even though I had set up my apartment, I didn't put any pictures on the walls because I was waiting. I was waiting for this earthquake we were supposed to have, and it came and it went, and we never had it. And eventually I was able to put all my pictures on the wall. So I saw a commercial for massage therapy, and I thought, well, that's not as stressful as the military, and it's a physical job, which suits me better. Do well with sitting in offices, reading fine print. So, I went to this school, and the first thing that I learned was if you do cardio, your heart has the ability to grow veins around blockages. I was like, sold. I was like, because I just felt like from my experience listening to my family through medical treatments they have, and my grandma in particular had 3 open heart surgeries. And to me, that was so violent. That's just crazy. So when I learned that, I was like, you know what? I want to learn everything I can. And the school, everything just felt right. So I signed up, and I just continued to learn, and I just absolutely loved the profession. But when it came time to, to back up a little bit, I was looking for work while I was in school. It wasn't a rush because I had some money saved up for my time in service, but it occurred to me that a lot of the jobs that I was looking into was commission based. And even before I was an entrepreneur, I mean, like, honestly, if it's all commission based, I could do it myself.
Right. At that point,
I could just open up something. It just didn't make sense. And oh God, the traffic there, like sitting in traffic to get to the job, an hour and a half to get there. Like, that was just nuts. So whatever. I went to school. And through my internship, I learned basic business principles. Not only did I practice my massage therapy, but, booking the calls, getting taking the phone calls and doing the follow-up, and then collecting payment at the end. I think I can't remember if I collected or not, but it's all very basic,
Right.
And the school said that when we graduated, we could take our clients with us. So I did that. I was working out of my house.
Yeah, absolutely. As most startups and entrepreneurs do.
Yeah. And by this time I did have a job because I ran out of money, and this job was really something. Please remember, I had been all over the place through the military, and I never in my wildest dreams thought I would have an experience of it. But basically it was a high-end hair extension studio. And they hired me as a massage therapist / studio assistant. And it was nuts because it was high end. It was nothing like what I was used to from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It was at all
demographic shift. And
these women would sit in a chair for like 13 hours getting their hair done, and the cheapest head was like $3,000, which was a car. I think you could still get a car for that, right? Can you?
Something it probably doesn't run.
Yeah, but
20 years old.
It blew my mind that dynamic was happening. And
I'm sure the shop was busy with plenty of clients, right?
Yeah, and they had celebrity clients and stuff. So my role was to make sure the woman she was eating, but she couldn't eat carbs, which from Milwaukee, that was strange to me too. I had to make sure she was taking her Ritalin. I had to fill meters with quarters, like just ridiculous stuff. And hair and massage traditionally don't go together. It makes sense, right? Especially if someone's going to sit in a chair for 13 hours. Nobody's going to want to have their hair ruined like that. So, but on the rare chance that somebody would want a massage, they'd be like, I need Jessica right now. Could you come back tomorrow? We'll comp the service, and then you'd lose a client.
Right.
And at some point I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I spent all day, 12 to 13 hours at a job that was like, through my life experience, I wanted more than that for myself. But the one thing they did do for me is let me take my clients through that at my house. And so I would do that. I learned very quickly that with massage therapy, I would make more money doing something that I loved versus sitting all day at a place that I hated. So eventually, like, it hit me, hey, I could quit this place. Like, there was no time to find another job. There wasn't.
That wasn't even a thought. You really wanted to focus on yourself and how you could help yourself and grow. And
well, I mean, I didn't, I didn't want a business at this point yet. I was still just really learning and sorting it out. And it was going well with the internship. But I knew that from looking for jobs sort of in the past, it just wasn't really going to work out. Not for what the cost of living was there. Like, there's no way. And then to be at one establishment for like committed like 12 hours plus an hour and a half each way, like there was no way that I had the time to dedicate to find something else to replace that. And I mean, like, my background was, and I remember my mom always taught us, you never quit a job. You always get another one first. So, like,
my mom always said that. I never followed it, but she said it.
Oh, did you? Oh,
yeah.
I did back then. That was the rule. You have to find another job first. And in the midst of all of this, at some point, the school realized they were losing all their clients and gave an offer that all of us couldn't compete with. And next thing I knew, I had my first mini pandemic. I think I had quit the salon. I had a full schedule of people. Then all of a sudden there was nobody.
Oh no.
It was my first mini pandemic. And my friend, he started advertising me online. And the next thing I knew, I had a full list of clients that were paying me even better coming out of my house. And then at some point, two people scared the crap out of me. That's super dangerous, like advertising in the city of LA for people to come to your house. And when I realized that, I had a couple of mobile clients that I had gone to, and I'd seen some of the most beautiful houses. So I immediately stopped seeing people I didn't know out of my house. I got a job part-time at the top spa in the country at the time. And then when people would call me, I would tell them they could see me at the top spa in the country, or I can come to you. And that's how I did my business.
Nice.
At some point, I ended up at one of those seminars, that everybody goes to, where the sales pitch.
Oh, yeah. There's like a special timeshare or some sort of offer that
you
sit through this.
I had gone to one for storefronts. It was a package of 3 storefronts that you could buy for $10,000. And I had the same friend with me. And he was like, don't buy that crap. I'll teach that to you. And I said, no way, because my experience with friends, they never kept their promises. So I bought it.
Right.
And I sat there and I picked apart the thing, and I had my massage website up in no time. And immediately I was at the top of the search engines. And I really quickly got that return of investment on that. So that really catapulted me as well.
Nice. So you bought those storefronts and you opened up your office location for the mobile massage.
Yeah, I did. Yep, that's what I did. And then I attempted a couple of other, I tried selling flowers. It seemed genius to me, but that just was nothing like what massage was. And I had learned at that point and understood that massage therapists, just like in a lot of other industries, are not entrepreneurs. So I knew I had the edge on it with my niche. So that's how that went, and that's how that worked. And I never did build anything other than a flower shop.
But still exciting. But I think that's the case for a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs. First, they are kind of going through the normal 9-to-5 office job. They need to pay their bills, obviously. And somewhere along the line, there's a mentor or a video that they might see that inspires them to wonder, okay, if I do something on my own, could I make something for myself and be a business owner?
Well, it wasn't just that. It was also, I was bored out of my mind during the day because it's a night and weekend profession, and I was really good. And I remember like sitting at the pool during the day being so bored, wishing to just be busier. So I had the time. I had the time to learn something and do all that. And now like I wish I could go spend the day at the pool.
Right. It's crazy how that kind of flip-flops. Usually when we start, we have more time than money. Luckily, you had a stockpile of savings to kind of support you for a little bit, but that kind of dwindles. And eventually we try to get to the point of having more money than time, right? We're just so busy making money that we literally need to pay other people to do services for us because we don't have that anymore. But as entrepreneurs, when we first start out, we really have to learn everything: websites, design, SEO, accounting, some aspect of all these different topics and services that we need to provide as a business owner now. So it's really a challenge for a lot of people, which is why so many people don't want to be entrepreneurs, and that's okay, because there's pros and cons to everything. When you're an employee, there's less risk. Sure, you don't get as much reward, but again, you're not having that risk. And some people prefer that. They just want to be done, punch out, and be good. But for people like us, we see more opportunity out there and know, hey, if I really treat this like a business and do it right, I could be successful, give myself the time or the money freedom back that we want.
Yep, absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
So now you're back. California was great, but now you're back in Milwaukee.
Yeah. So when the market crashed in 2008, 2009, yeah, I missed my family then, which was never part of the plan. And I came home, and I really thought that I was going to have to be a waitress when I got here.
Yeah, but this can still be
It didn't
lucrative.
matter.
But
Yeah, I just wanted to be back at home. And yeah, when I was growing up, my mom in particular, if something was wrong, she would take a pill or get it cut out. So that was my impression of Milwaukee. And then when I came here, I discovered all the alternative health professionals here, and I was just super excited and thrilled because they were really amazing and awesome. And again, through intuition, I started advertising, and next thing I knew, I was in business here.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. So there was a few and I know we have a time restriction here, but yeah, there was definitely learning curves coming in a different culture, but I really appreciated it. And now I absolutely love Milwaukee.
Oh, well, we are happy to have you back. I'm sure the winter and the coldness is not something that a lot of people are fond of. I myself say that I'm going to move every year, but until I actually started growing my business, then I'm like, okay, now I'm stuck here. I have to stay here. Family's here.
There's other one of those. You're not stuck here.
Yeah,
later.
Of course. Maybe one day I could, find business investors who might want to purchase me out of, Milwaukee Underground or any businesses that I started, and that'd be great. Yep. But, just got to follow that as that comes. But through your entrepreneurial journey, and obviously you've had to pivot from COVID as well. So it's a secondary market collapse or, something to affect the economy that hurts your business as well. But what's on the docket for the next 5 years for you with corporate wellness and retention? Who are you helping right now? How are you helping them? Because a lot of it is based around just what you say is the corporate wellness and retention, keeping the employees fit and active to reduce the stress, and the employee turnover assists in that.
Well, you're right. My business absolutely got crushed because of the pandemic, but I was actually super excited about it because it gave me a chance to learn new things. And I ended up having to rebrand the whole company, which was actually the purpose in 2019. I hired my first employee in 2017, and by 2019, I had a staff of 31, and I actually didn't even know that. But they were driving me nuts. They weren't working out, and it was branding and the messaging, because the name at the time was Spa Massage on the Go. So the business would come back every year, twice a year, and it wasn't sustaining the business so that I could hold massage therapists on a regular basis. It was was their secondary mean of income.
Mm-hmm.
And they weren't necessarily employable. They had some bad habits and it was awful. And I was so frustrated. So I knew I needed to rebrand, and I was in the process of doing that. And I was going to use my reoccurring revenue to launch nationally and work with a much bigger market for skilled professionals with regular income. And COVID said, nope, you're not doing that.
I can't tell you how many businesses had so many like big upcoming plans for 2020, and they were in the process of putting them out. And then suddenly out of nowhere, this COVID thing happens and really shook up industries everywhere. I mean, everyone had to pivot, get creative, do some rebranding, but you were in the process of that.
I was.
But now you're getting back to it. You've been rebranded now.
Right, because like I said before, when you have that instance in business, there was other mini pandemics that happened. Like this one was a doozy, but like I knew there was huge opportunity through it. I didn't know what on earth that was going to be. I appreciated the time to sit back and start like looking into the SEO marketing and stuff again, because I had hired people to do that for me. And I was asking them for what I wanted, and they weren't doing it. And then I had the time to sit down and look into it, like, was this possible or not? And it was like my gut was telling me, yeah. And I was absolutely right in my requests, So it was nice to have the time to sit back and to be able to start learning again. And so I ended up getting... Well, first of all, the new company is Corporate Wellness and Retention, and we go to businesses only.
Okay.
We bring a chair like you see at the mall, and we render services. What it's about during this time is people just getting people back in the office, really. And then also, we have the holidays right now. So this year has actually come back a lot stronger than it has the last two. So I'm pleasantly surprised. I didn't expect it at all, but it's a blessing. It's all absolutely a blessing. So we're getting through that right now, but I don't expect too much after that. I'm going in a different direction.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah. So I ended up managing a mini golf course because of the pandemic. It was one of those things where I had called up the veteran DWD to ask them where my unemployment was again for like the sixth time.
Yeah.
And they had said, and this, the economy had opened up by this time. It was the end of June. Yeah. Yeah. No, it was July 2nd. I remember that actually. July 2nd, 2022. I had started my first job that I haven't had a job in like years, because I had called the Department of Workforce Development.
Right.
And they said, well, do you want a job? And I was like, sure, whatever. And so they're like down the street from me was this mini golf course. And I liked the location that it was, because I didn't have to get on the freeway or anything. I'm just straight shot. And they told me to just fix my resume geared more towards taking care of finances in a company. This is okay. And I submitted it. I got a call within an hour from the owner of the mini golf course.
This is like using SEO for employment. It's you got to put the right keywords so that you can be found.
Well, no, I was beat out because I had gone through the Department of Workforce Development, and the mini golf course had called them and said, we need somebody, and whatever else they told them. It's all about timing too. Timing is a big deal. So they were being overrun by teenagers. The three brothers had inherited this business from their late mother, and they hated this business. So by the time they got my resume, they were like, yes. And, I got a call within an hour. And the business owner, was telling me about it. And he was just like, when do you want to come in for an interview? I said, my God, is this what employers do? Like, when would you like to come in? I said, I'll be there tomorrow. And he was just like, well, I can't do tomorrow, but how about Thursday? He said, sure. And again, he said, what time? I'm like, this is great, right? So when I get there on Thursday, he was pulling out, in the back room, he's pulling out policies and procedures, the company card, the keys to the company. Like, he had already decided that this was me. Like, this is who was going to be in charge. And the funny thing is, like, he lives 3 hours away and he forgot his hearing aids. So, like, if he had any questions for me during this interview, he couldn't hear it anyway. And he didn't care. It was like, just somebody take this over, right? Like,
he's going strictly by sight and intuition. I mean, he's already handing you the keys and the card. So, I mean.
Yeah, and also, what the promise was, like, through training, you get a certain salary, and after you're trained, you were going to get a raise. And he said, forget about the training salary. I'm just going to pay you the whole amount right away. And then he wanted to know, how was I going to manage my business and his business at the same time? But again, he couldn't hear me. And he couldn't read my lips because we were wearing masks. But he's just like, basically the agreement was just run the business as if it were your own and make sure that the cash register is balanced.
Yeah. Two very important things, but important nonetheless.
But as time went on, it was so cool. It fit my personality so well because I love being outside. And I found out I love mentoring teenagers, and teaching them. And it was what I really never got to do, honestly, for the ones that weren't behaving, was make them do push-ups. Like, you have to do.
So you're really bringing that Army experience to it.
That was the only thing I wasn't allowed to do. But, like, ultimately, my good friend that owns the golf course mentored me through it, answered any questions that I had, and whatever decision I made, he backed me 100%. And I gave the place a facelift, and I shaped up the teenagers. I actually ended up firing 6 in one day after giving them a month to get it together.
Sometimes those hard decisions have to be made, and you got to stick with it.
Some of them had quit. They didn't like it. Some were mad that they weren't manager and that they brought in this 40-year-old to take over the business. When one of the girls said to me, she was so mad, I almost fell off the chair. I was like, well, first of all, who said I'm 40? And second of all, who said that you should be a manager? Like, business owners they know their staff, who's capable of what, and you didn't earn it. So, like, can we figure this out? And so, I was with the task and thinking real hard, how was I going to work with her? Because she already was clearly just mad. And obviously no compassion. But lucky for me, she gave her notice.
That problem worked itself out, I guess.
It did. I was like, yes, thank you so much. So between the ones that quit and the ones I had to let go, we basically had a whole new staff except for one person. And I maintained the business, the property, and I kept relationships with the vendors and found new vendors that would fit, and just basically did everything that they needed and grew their profits. I mean, they were so good to me, and that they let me even, like, make decisions on the hours that we were running and look at the trends and when they were busy, the past experience and all that. So to really be a part of a business that was successful during the pandemic, even though mine had just totally tanked, was alone and a huge blessing,
Yeah.
So ultimately, we ended up winning an award from the state senator for best mini golf.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. And then through all that, I took some training to acquire businesses kind of on the subject. And I had went through a challenge, and I was like, that's it. Based on my life experience, I was like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. So now the focus is on acquiring businesses from people that want to retire.
Wow. That's impressive and exciting.
Yeah, it's super.
And I think it's a testament to your journey and your experience over the years and what you can bring to the table by being a successful entrepreneur yourself, and then even having to go into a brand new industry like mini golf course that you never knew before, but you had the opportunity. You had the opportunity to treat it like your own business and look at the data, the analytics. Let me make the hard decisions. Let me give it a facelift, a rebranding, and now award-winning, profits are up. I mean, it's a testament to what you know and how you do it. So that's incredible. So I'm sure other business owners should be excited to even get a phone call from you with interest in acquiring the business or on how you can help them, because the proof speaks for itself, you know.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yes, they're absolutely happy to hear from me. It's fun. It's really neat.
Yeah. So with your entrepreneurial journey and everything, what's one thing that your piece of advice to other entrepreneurs?
It never hurts to have a fresh set of eyes to come in and look at your business and see what can you do differently and what needs to be fixed.
Oh, that's incredible and important.
It's very important. I feel like that's a missing link too for business. Not to make anybody wrong, and please don't misunderstand me, but
No.
there's really something to be said if you let somebody come in and take a look at it and figure out how you can increase revenue and work your way around those fixed costs to get those down.
Absolutely. And it's not to diminish the success of the business owner or entrepreneur themselves at all, because they've obviously had a lot of great success in their industry, what they've done. However, when we're inside of the business, we can't really take a step back and get the big picture. We are too busy with the day-to-day operations where our perspective is skewed and we're only inside of it. And we need like you said, a fresh set of eyes, someone else to come in and take a look so that they can give a better understanding of what's not working as well as it could be or it should be.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where I come in. And then eventually, if you're looking to exit the business, or if you want to exit now for whatever life circumstance, whether the business is profitable or not, there's a good chance that myself or other investors I know might want that business.
Oh, that's exciting. So I guess I haven't been in the business of investing and things like that. When you approach a business owner, what are some other options? Do you offer like a full buyout? Is there upfront cash plus residual recurring revenue for the owner if you were to keep that in operation?
Really,
what are the options?
It depends on the circumstance, and we'll go through that with you as we're through. When you're dealing with people, there's no cookie cutter way.
No, there isn't.
And there's so many other options that people aren't even aware of, that they might have. So we would explore that so everybody wins, really.
Yeah. Oh, that's exciting. But I'm sure there's a lot of business owners out there who have built up something great, and maybe the stress is just weighing on them and they're looking for a career change or shift in industry, and they don't want to give it all up yet. Maybe there's still something there of value that they can resell.
Even that, and there are some business owners that want to stay in there for like 10 years, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
So you could add a partner to your business, which is your fresh set of eyes, and figure out how you're going to grow it together if you have like a 10-year plan. So it could go anywhere from, 90 days or even longer. It just really depends what your goals are. Some of us business owners, like myself, I have no children. So I'm like, who's going to take over my legacy? And from what I understand, there are people out there with children that want nothing to do with their business. And it's like, you're at a crossroads at like, do I just close the business and retire? Or can I possibly let somebody else take it over? And then understand too, like everything that you had been through, just to even have that business, it's not an easy feat to have a successful business. So to come in that's what I do. I'm respectful. I understand your path and your journey. And if I don't know something, I have a group of investors behind me that I'll figure that out quickly. And by the way, the business owner might not know everything either. That's okay. We'll figure it out together. And I also appreciate the opportunity to learn from business owners. Like there's so much wisdom that they have out there. And so it's very individualized, the path on exiting your business, or if you just want to improve it, that's fine too.
Oh, that's super exciting. I'm sure business owners would just love to have that conversation. And even for the simple entertainment, what are my options? What can this look like? Because just starting that conversation is going to allow them it plants the seed and lets them know my exit strategy moving forward. How can I direct myself to kind of set myself up for retirement success or a partnership, or just to start and like grow and scale that with a partner now, which is really exciting. So business owners who might be interested in something like that with you, where can they find you online?
You can go ahead and go to can'twaittoretire.com. Or you can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. My name is Jessica Dragan.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Well, Jessica, thank you so much for joining us today. Really exciting to hear your journey and just where you've been through the last 6 years and the past decade and a half. Very exciting to have you on. Thank you for that. Hope you have a great evening. I'm sure we'll be chatting very soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.